Welcome back, everyone, to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Podcast with your host, Marie Mason. Oh my gosh, we have a great show lined up for you, and you don't want to miss it. Our guest is going to be sharing great tips and ideas on how to make your marketing and mindset work for you and how to learn to set up your business for success. And stick around so you're going for some quick action tips from Sophie Zollmann so that you can apply in your business now and get some great gifts from our show. So without any further ado, before we bring up our guest, we're going to share the top tips of the week. So ready? Get your notebook, books, papers, whatever it is that you're writing on, whatever your writing instrument is. Let's get going. Okay, so for today's tips is in the marketing section. It's all about actually, it's probably a combination of different things. We're going to talk about 3 concepts of creating a sales strategy. And strictly speaking, the 3 concepts really, I got this actually from one of my coaches who's actually amazing at teaching. And I just summed up what she just was sharing on her offer today. And she was doing a great little short video today. So the first one is first concept to create your sales strategies. 1, the branding, and 2, the marketing, and 3, the sales. So they're all separate entities, but they all have a unique purpose. So the first one is branding. When you are building recognition for your company and communicating your why and what is your unique value and why they should work for you. That's what you're communicating to your ideal audience, right? Is your brand. You're trying to get brand recognition and get that information out there. And then the next step is really marketing. People really get kind of freaked out on marketing. It's really not that difficult. So marketing is the action steps that gets the leads and helps you get them interested into you and help them to say yes. And it's usually one of the ways is through examples of mentioning your why and how it's changed the lives of your clients. Why has your brand, what has your services done to help your clients succeed? So if you have testimonials out there, or if you even have case studies, those are really instrumental in helping people understand why you are successful at what you're doing. After all, stories sell, right? And then sales is the purpose of selling is to improve the buyer's business in exchange for payment and help your clients take action first steps towards working with you. It's all a process. So here's my offer for you. Are you struggling with in a particular area of your business? Most of us kind of know if we're having a challenge somewhere along the line, right? So let's schedule a free business assessment to see what needs improvement. So why don't you go to my calendar at calendly.com/Marie D. Mason, and it will be in our YouTube channel. So please make sure you check out and like and subscribe and watch our shows. So without that, we're going to be bringing up our guest for this week. And let me mention about her background real quick. But first, welcome back to the Marketing Mindset Mastery podcast with your host, Marie Mason. I'm still trying to get over the fact I'm not a radio show anymore, I'm a podcast. But our guest today is Sophie Zollmann. She's a certified social media and online business manager from Nashville, Tennessee. And she's in the US like I am. And then she is the CEO and founder of Sophie Zollmann, which is the next level business support. And today's topic is on social media marketing best practices, because we all need to know how to do social media in the proper way and doing it, because there's a right way and then there's a wrong way. So without further ado, let's bring up Sophie Zollmann. Welcome, and come on down, Sophie. You're on the spotlight. So anyway, how are you doing?
Hey there. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you, Marie?
I'm fantastic. It always helps when I have my hair colored.
Yeah, well, I went curly today. I did not take time to blow dry the hair and straighten it. So you've got the coloring and I've got my natural curl going on here.
I like the natural curl. See, I have this like wavy look, but I've never had it straight and wavy, and I've never had curly. So yeah, I sometimes always would go to people that had curly hair and be like, how do you keep it so curly? So now I know people curl it. But anyway, but all good. But that's not our topic for today. That's
No,
just some
that is not our topic for today.
yeah, but that's a fun fact that we're all dealing with life, and everybody's different with what we're going through. And some of us have good hair days, and some of us bad hair days. We're just gonna make the bad hair days look good today. So anyway, so long story short, a quick starter question, because you've been on here a couple times before, and if you can go back to our YouTube channel, check out those episodes with Sophie Zollmann. And my question is for you, to start off with, is what made you choose your career path?
It partially chose me, in all honesty, but it came about from, I had my second child. She was about a year old, and financially we needed to make more money. Mm-hmm. And to make more money meant I needed to go back to work, but to go get a job, all my pay would have gone to daycare for 2 kids. So it was useless to get a job. So I got into the online world, the great internet back 20 years ago, dial up speed, all that good stuff, and found websites where freelancers could put themselves out there with their skill sets, and even back then their resumes. And I got on a few sites, and I started applying for different roles and positions that came up on those sites. And I got a virtual customer service role with a guy in New York who had an e-commerce business. And I worked for him for almost 4 years, working up to managing the business for him. And then kind of from there, the rest is history, because I figured, I was running his $500,000 company for $12 an hour. And I figured out that was just not the way I wanted to spend my days, all stressed out, all running a $500,000 company for a pittance, and he would not give me a raise, and his bonuses were not worthwhile. And so we got to a point where I could quit. So I quit. But then 8 months later, I got to a point where I had to work again. So, because home ownership, our first home that we owned ever, it was our second house we owned, started falling apart, and all the money we had set aside to let me quit went away. So I had to go back to work. And I was like, I'm not doing that e-commerce thing again. So I got into transcription, and that's where I was transcribing teleseminars. Do you remember those?
Oh yeah.
Teleseminars. Before Zoom was a thing, before webinars were a thing, I was doing that. And I was doing it for the online coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs that I now work for. And when I met those people in those teleseminars, I was like, oh my gosh, these are the people I want to work for. These people are amazing. They know what I do. They appreciate what I do. And they know they even, because many of them talked about hiring virtual assistants and paying them well and all of those things. And I'm like, oh my God, these are my people. So I relaunched myself into the online world as a VA, and networked on social media for 6 months, hardcore, straight out, all the time. Met a bunch of VAs like me who wanted me to help them, and who also were willing to help me launch a business. And so in October of 2009, Sophie Zoe LLC was born, and it's been a wild ride ever since.
Isn't that always the truth? It's so funny how the businesses always find us. So yeah. Most people don't realize I started off with copywriting as an option. I wanted to really help people write for people, and realize I didn't want to just write for people. I wanted to write for coaches, but specifically helping them with their webinar planning and making sure their sales pitches were correct. Because, oh my gosh, I have been on some good calls and some good Zoom calls. I've been on some bad calls, and I've been on some real questionable ones. I'm sure you have too. You've also probably have done that with some of the teleprompting and positionings as well. You've probably seen the gamut more than I have. So I'm preaching to the choir, but oh my gosh, the reason why my business was born was because I wanted people to look good, and I wanted to put the spotlight on them and just help them tweak some of the wording and give them a framework so they can have a better response rate. And and it seems to be, like you said, it's been an interest. It's been has its ups and downs and ins and outs like any other business, but I wouldn't trade it for the world, because it gave me my independence. It gave me a chance to work from home. I can be flexible, work anywhere. So if I have to go and help family, I'm free and flexible to go and do that. So Just means I have to pack my computer with me whenever I go. But anyway, but it's all good. And but it gives us that laptop lifestyle that I don't like to use very often, but it's very freeing, especially with having a child who even though he's a high schooler now and a sophomore, but at the same time, um, the schools close the drop of the hat. And even though he's totally independent and could be fine by himself, as a parent, I prefer to be home with him. So this was the best of both worlds, to be able to work from home and be able to have a business that I can make some money out of, and enough to cover some of my expenses. So it's the best of both worlds. So I totally understand about where you were coming from. So, but I find learning about people's different journeys and of where life took them in their business path, just as equally valuable in some of the tips as just sometimes the topic themselves. So anyway, so I just wanted to thank you for sharing that, because I don't think we ever got you to say that the last couple of times you were on the show. So
Probably, I don't think we have. So, but yeah, no, that's my story. And I mean, there's, I'm not going to go into that wild ride, but yeah, there's been a wild ride. There's been different incarnations, different evolutions, the whole 9 yards, including losing it all and starting over from scratch and rebuilding it to even better than it ever was before. So, people don't know, if people don't know my story or your story, they're like, well, how do you know how to do what you do so well? It's like, well, that's how.
right. Exactly. We learn by trial and error, and sometimes it's good trial and errors, and sometimes it's one that you wish you would not had to go through. But then you could live and share that with others and help them keep that from making the same mistakes. Why do you think coaches come out and coach? Because a lot of it is that they came in and learned from their own mistakes, and they want to keep you from making the same mistakes. So but the Business Academy came out because I used to teach for 20 years, and I wanted to get back to the teaching community, but I didn't want to teach little kids. I wanted to teach adults, but I wanted to teach virtual assistants because I learned so much from my coach, and I wanted to be able to do the same thing for other virtual assistants and help them find, what their path is. Because let's face it, you need help. Sometimes you need a different perspective. So there you go. It's another good example. But the next question is, we're going to talking about a specific topic today, and that is social media marketing best practices. And there's so many things that we're not aware of because it's constantly changing. The book of faces, some people call it. And just to make, hey, if you're not laughing at least once on the show, I don't know what's going on with you, but I try to make it fun. So anyway, so the book of faces, I've heard people call it that. So then there's LinkedIn and TikTok and you name it. There's so many different platforms. So my question is, what is your best strategy for social media marketing for this year so far? It's one of my first questions. And then we're going to go into a few specifics on the different platforms, because like I said, there's so many changes out there. I'm kind of curious what's going on with that. So what is your social media strategy for this year when you market your business?
So the strategy and best practices for social media this year, at least until something big happens and one of those platforms has to change something, I won't mention any names.
Like I said, I gave a few little fictitious words there.
Yeah, I won't mention any names of which platform I'm talking about, but is consistency, which I know that people are going to say, well, that's not new. Oh, but it is new, because consistency is more important than ever before because of all the changes. And consistency now means something a little different than it meant before, because before consistency was make sure you're posting every week or a few times every week. That does not cut it anymore. You need to be posting every single day. Period. End of story. If you want to get any kind of ROI out of your social media marketing, you need to be posting every day. And you need to be posting different kinds of content, not just the same old, same old. You need to be mixing it up with text and images, videos, memes, GIFs, all the things, as long as they speak to you and your brand and you're not just doing something because everybody's doing it. It's still got to be authentic to you and who you are, but you've got to mix it up. And video, is still the best thing to do, but live video is more important, short live video, and for some people that means the reels and that means TikTok. I'm not a TikTok person, but that's just me because it's not authentic or genuine to me. I'm not going to get on there. And even if it's not me being silly, I'm still, TikTok just is not my place. It's not my people really aren't there. And if they are, they're not there looking for me. They're looking for all the fun, crazy, weird videos that many people are on there for.
The ones my husband liked to show at the end of the night and stay and laugh at. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's about, and it's got an engagement, and this may sound different, but engagement is the reason why you are posting every day and why you're posting different kinds of content, because engagement is what's going to boost you up into the algorithm and help you do your social media organically, because a lot of people want to do organic social media. They don't want to pay for ads. And with all the things going on in that side of online marketing, ads are even trickier now than in the past as well. So when you're looking at the organic side of things, you've got to be committed and post every day, post different kinds of content. But one rule that still kind of sticks with me is the 80-20 rule. 80% information, motivation, inspiration, questions, and polls, things that are going to drive engagement and let people get to know you. And that includes your personal life to a certain extent. I'm not talking about the old days where you told everybody when you ate lunch, went to the bathroom and took a shower. We're not talking that personal life.
There's some people who still do that, believe it or not.
Yes, there are still people who do that, but that is not what I'm talking about. Your wins, like I talk about, now that I have a grandbaby, I talk about my cutie patootie every so often.
I saw that post the other day, by the way, and I thought it was so cute.
I post pictures of my cutie patootie grandson and brag about being a grandma. And then, and sometimes I do post, something from a restaurant we're eating at, or, a really cool looking cocktail, because I am a foodie. And that speaks to who I am as a person without getting into my personal life. And, but there's, fun things. It's all about that 80% is meant to show your expertise, have fun with your audience, engage your audience, and let them really, truly get to know you. And then the 20% can be promotional. You can be promoting your free offer. You can be promoting your coaching course. You can be promoting your product, whatever that is. But you do not want to get on there and post every day and just sell. You will be unfriended and unfollowed quickly.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I also like those little do-it-yourself videos. So I've been notorious for lately, and I've been catching them in my newsfeed, and occasionally, and I'll just share them because I'm like, and I had someone say, "Oh, I love this one," and sometimes I'll post a question. Like I posted a question on one of them recently. Like it was one about packing up. So I said, is anybody out there trying to pack? I said, here's some great packing hacks that might help, and just, trying to find something that's relatable content. But some of it's not necessarily relatable to what I do, but it's just something that kind of gets an insight. Like I like do-it-yourself people. And I love tracking people who are like that to my tribe. So I totally get that. But you're right. You do have to make sure everything is relatable. So that's a good point. But thank you. And then I was wondering, I do at least once or twice a day, and maybe I need to up my ante on that. I do it several times a day. But I didn't think about that until you mentioned that. So, because I noticed that the Facebook has been changing in their algorithms. And so now I know why. So
yes, and that actually is a good point. Once a day is the minimum. If you can post more than once a day, and well, here's one little caveat I would say to that. You can post more than once a day if you have a good sized, I'm not trying to say. You can post once a day. You can post more than once a day, but just know that some of the people following you may have a very small following. So they're going to see you post and post and post and post and post. And some of them might get a little grouchy and fire back and say, I'm unfollowing you because you post too much. You have Twitteria is what they used to call it when it was Twitter. And I'm like, because I used to, back in the day when I was doing that, back when I was getting started, I actually, it's like, well, they had 10 followers. Well, no wonder I was puking all over their feed. They had 10 whole followers. I'm like, sorry, you don't have a big following. So just know you could get a little bit of heckling if you do, but just handle it professionally, don't apologize for what you're doing, because there's nothing wrong with it. Just, if you need to unfriend them or them, whatever the case may be, just take care of it, professionally and move on. Don't take it personally, and don't go, oh my God, somebody just yelled at me for posting 3 times a day. I got to quit posting 3 times a day. Absolutely not. If it's working for everybody else and everything else, you keep doing it.
I know people who post way more than 3 times a day. So yeah, and they're got a good success and a big following too. So I think you're right. I think what it is you have to do you and not worry about the negative people. Scroll past their negative nonsense and protect yourself. And if you have to, like you said, unfriend them, and not because of any other reason except that you want to protect your group and your tribe. You don't, I mean, I had some people I had to unfriend that were best friends when I was growing up in certain times of my life, but because they were negative about me and my family several years ago, I had to unfriend them and just said, it's not because I don't take it personal. It's not you. It's a business, an image that I have to protect. And you're not being kind to me or my family. It's going to reflect my business image. So I had to remove them off my Facebook. And I still have to this day will not put them on my social media, period, for that reason. So like I said, I don't give it, it's never about being mean. It's more like I got to protect my image. So we're not going to harp too much more on that point. So anyway, because we got some more questions for you. So the next one is, should everyone be on the okay, there's so many platforms, okay? And there is a process on decide to which platform to focus. For example, I'm a business coach, but I'm also a business owner. And sometimes a coach might have a better platform to be on than a business owner, for example. Like my tribe happens to be on both spaces. Like I like to do a lot on LinkedIn and the Book of Faces. I'm testing the waters on TikTok because I heard that videos go viral on that platform, but I haven't done anything yet. I just kind of dipping my toes in it. So I'm getting started this month. So long story short, but I don't believe that my personal peeps are there. However, more for the podcasts, getting exposure with the podcast more than anything. The rest of it is, I feel like you really have to go with where your tribe is. So is there a process on how to decide which platform form to focus on? That's sort of what I'm trying to get at. And I kind of give an example about my 2 businesses, because like I said, not all businesses are on the Book of Faces or on LinkedIn. So do you have a suggestion on how we decide where to focus on our attention on?
Well, one thing you have to consider is how much time do you have, or how big is your team that you have managing your social media? Because if you have a team of people managing your social media, you can be on as many platforms as you want, whether or not your people are there. If you just want to have because some people want a presence everywhere. And it's not necessarily that their people are there, but they want to show that they are everywhere. And they have a specific purpose to it. They're not there just to be there, because you don't want to be there just to be there. You want to, because you do have to post, you do have to maintain it. You can't just be like on LinkedIn and have a profile and not do anything with it. That's actually a really bad thing, is having a social profile that you don't use at all, that it's just there. If you're not going to use it, close it down and get rid of it. But if you don't have all the time in the world and don't want to be on all the platforms or many different platforms, you need to figure out who your ideal client is. You need to go through an ideal client avatar exercise. There are many of them out there. And once you realize who your ideal client is, then you got to figure out which platforms they're on. And it may be one platform, it may be all platforms. And if it is by chance all the platforms, then you have to just figure out which platform you think will be the most productive for you, give you the most return on your investment of getting clients, and or making sales, whatever the case may be. And that takes a lot of diligence in either testing one platform at a time to figure it out, or testing them all at once and seeing which one produces more, and then backing off the ones that don't. But it's all about your ideal client and where they live on social media. That is the most important part of figuring out what platform to be on, especially if you can only be on one or two based on time constraints, whatever the case may be. It's, especially with the heavy duty content, heavy strategies of today, if one platform is all you can handle, pick one, and pick the one that your ideal clients are hanging out on the most and where they're looking for you. Because that's the other piece of it. If your ideal client is, if they're on LinkedIn, but they're not on LinkedIn looking for you, then it's not a good fit, because they're probably on there looking for a job or looking for, whatever. You have to be where they're looking for you, and they expect to see you there and go, oh, I do need that. I'm glad I saw that in my feed. I'm going to go click on that, and I'm going to go see who this person is and what they do. And then, I hate to say it, but sometimes that is Facebook or Instagram, as much as you may not want to be on those platforms, because so many people are there, including your people. Because some of your people, what may sound counterintuitive is you may need to be going after your people on the platforms where they're there for a personal reason, where they're, on there for personal sharing and whatnot, as opposed to the business person that they are, the job that they have, those kinds of things. Because I'll tell you what, the more I'm on Facebook on my personal page, which I do use for business too, but on my personal profile, I am starting to see more and more ads and more posts in my feed of people that, I resonate with, that I could potentially work with, collaborate with, or, refer business to. And I actually have bought a few things from Facebook ads lately too, because they're, it's just, I'm on there a lot, and I'm on there for both personal and business. And, they're catching me there. They're doing the smart thing. They're catching me where I'm at personally and professionally, and where I'm looking for my clients too.
Good point. And now I'm just putting in if I don't remember to write something down, I forget and lose it. So this is why I record things too, because I'm like, I do not trust my memory on everything. So, because you just said a mouthful, and it was quite perfect, because when you're posting something, whether you're posting an organic or a paid ad, there's a reason why they're there. It's to grab your attention. But you need to make sure, like you said, you're putting it out there where your target market's going to do. And that's also one of the things I've learned with posting ads. It depends on where your audience is and location. So you want to make sure you time it. So, and sometimes once enough is not enough. I have people from all over the world I'm connected with on social media. So if I post them consistently at 9 o'clock in the morning, it's going to be 9 o'clock in the evening on the Philippines side, for example. Or if there's going to be people on Australia, that's right now currently in for next week or two, 15 hours ahead. When we change in a couple of weeks, it's going to be 14 hours ahead. So like I said, but I think the Philippines is 13 hours ahead because of the time difference, and then it'll change to 12. I'm going to look forward to the day when we can actually get rid of daylight saving time, or one of those two, and stick to one of those, because it just is very confusing. But anyway,
time zone math is bad enough, but when you have to think about whether we're daylight savings or not, it only complicates it more.
Exactly. And I know we had a purpose for it back in the day when we established it, but that purpose isn't really valid as much anymore. So it's like, oh my gosh, we need another. I will be jumping for joy when we can finally pick one. Arizona's already ahead of us. Several states are already ahead of us. I can't wait till the rest of us catches up. I'm just saying, that's going to be my plug for it. I don't care what else y'all argue over. but that's going to be my vote. We're going to vote to get rid of one of them and stick with one for all across the US. Anyway, that way we can stop being so confused on time. And I don't have to keep changing my clock, but maybe that's just me being lazy right there. But anyway, okay, that's my only political rant for today. And y'all can take your side, whichever one you want. There's always going to be somebody opposing it, and I can respect that, but disrespect my opposition as well. So anyway, and we'll just agree to disagree for those who don't agree with me, and that's fine by me. But long story short, the next question is, you mentioned about a client avatar and why, but and it is important. I've been learning that for myself, having clarity about who I want to focus on working with is important. But for other people that may not know who their client avatar is or know who their target market is, could you explain why is it important and what are some of the key elements of a client avatar?
So a client avatar is also known as a client persona in some cases, and you are basically using your imagination to invent your ideal client. Remember, for those of you who had the invisible best friend when you were a child, it's kind of like
usually a stuffed animal.
It's kind of like that you're gonna go into their demographic. So are they male, female, transgender? I mean, and you go all the way through all the different gender possibilities, and you go through all of their attributes, both age, job, relationship status, whether they own a house, rent a house, whether they, what kind of a car do they own, what magazines do they read, what books do they read, what gurus do they follow, what movies do they watch. I am a Harry Potter nerd. So if you want to target me, target Harry Potter nerds, and your ad and your post will come into my feed.
Cool. Hey, another common thing we have. I'm a Harry Potter fan too, so good.
So you're going to be picking all those interests and and an avatar. Some people are like, well, that's just for advertising. Well, it's more important for advertising, yes. But the other thing that you got to look at is your messaging. You are talking to these people when you're posting on social media. So if you don't know who they are and you're talking in whatever language, so to speak, and I don't, however you're messaging what you do on social media, if you're not talking their language, you're going to blow right by them. They're never going to notice you, and you're never going to get your clients, because the client avatar is important for what you say, how you say it. And, that's where, and how you do videos. What images do you choose? What do you design them? Do you make them plain? You are literally speaking to your ideal client on social media. And that's why you need to know your client avatar beyond whether or not you're going to do ads, because you need to be talking to them in their language, talking to them in a way that's going to make them perk up and go, oh, Marie, you're talking to me. I need this. I need you to do this for me. Oh my gosh. Yes. I'm that person who is I need to do this and I need to do that. And Marie is oh my gosh, Marie is the person I need for this. You are talking to your ideal client. And if you're talking gibberish, or what is gibberish to them, because you don't really know who you don't know who they are and how to talk to them, it's just going to blow right by them, and they're never going to see your posts, and they're never going to read them, and they're never going to know who you are and come look for you.
Right. And here's the rule of thumb in general. Usually when I do something like lead generation, for example, for my business, one of the things I've learned is one of the three is a yes, one of the three is a maybe, and one of the three is a no. And they fit in one of those three categories. And you want the ones that are yeses. The maybes are okay too, because they just have questions usually, and they're on the fence, and that's easy to flip around if they're the right fit. And if they're not, then they go in the no category. And what it is when you're trying to find your client avatar and you're trying to find your ideal client, don't be married to the numbers. Don't be married to the one. Don't be so fretting over every single person that you come across, because not everybody is a good fit for you. And I always tell people, especially my students, it says, you're looking for the right people. Not everyone's going to be a right fit. So if you have people that don't seem like they're the right fit, don't just grab them because you're desperate for income, because that's not going to be a good fit for you, and it's not going to be good for them. You want to make sure it's the right fit for you up front, because that way, and vice versa, that way it meshes well. Otherwise, you're going to end up falling flat on your face, and you're going to struggle with it. And one of the reasons that people struggle with their business, especially at the beginning, it doesn't matter if it's a virtual assistant business or traditional or whatever. If you're going attracting the wrong people, that's why. You're struggling and beating yourself up against the brick wall because you're not attracting the right people. And that includes employees too. If you're trying to hire somebody, you got to have an idea what their persona is like too, right? I mean, it goes the
Absolutely.
same way. So if you're trying to find the right virtual assistant, you need to know what that looks like as well. Hey, we can actually have a whole conversation one day on that one. I'm just saying we might. Anyway,
Oh
but not
yes,
today.
hiring, building a team. Yeah, I can do that too. We can talk
Yeah,
about that all day.
yeah. Hey, we'll that one on another time, another call.
Yes.
But that's what I was saying. This is important to know who your peeps are. It's your tribe, who it is that you can connect with. And as look at them as like human beings and not just like dollar signs. I think too many of us walk around with dollar signs when we see people and not see the people themselves. And I'm telling people to relate to them. So that's what I'm saying. And you had mentioned ads and catching, because you said in a couple of questions ago, was how the ads are catching you on like different places that you're on, platforms that you're on, and you're opting in on them. So book of faces, that's my term for it lately. Those ads are I'm wondering, I've been on the fence. I've had people telling me you need to go and place an ad and stuff, and I'm like, well, do I really, is that going to be a good return on my investment these days? Because I've heard some good things, pros and cons, about doing ads on any of the social media platforms that are out there. And I know there's a whole bunch of changes going on with targeting and the Apple cookies and the blocking. And oh my gosh, it just seems like everything's taking quite longer as far as ads are concerned. So what's going on? What are some of your thoughts about the ads, and are they even worth it? That's what I really want to know. Are they even worth doing? Because I don't want to waste my money on something that's not worth it. Does that make sense?
Makes absolute sense. Yeah, Facebook ads, social media ads are still a very viable avenue, despite the iOS cookie blocking. And here's the thing for people to know, that iOS cookie blocking and tracking blocking isn't just Facebook ads. It also is email. And you can actually set up your iPhone, your iPad, and all of those things to block tracking of even simply opening an email. So just know that cookie blocking and that tracking blocking that iOS has in place affects your email marketing too. So always consider that in this mess, because it is a bit of a mess, but there are ways with Facebook ads to make sure you can, well, there's no guarantee in Facebook ads or social media marketing ever, but it is still a viable option. That's where your client avatar is really super, super important. And here's a big thing to consider too, is when you fill out your little questionnaire, or when you're building your little avatar, it's really, really important when it comes to their interests. Like I said, the books, the movies, the gurus, the whatever, that list needs to be as long as you can possibly think of, because the latest thing that Facebook is doing is taking away things that we target, some of the interests that we like to target. And I can give you a prime example that's on my own account is I have done a lot of targeting of people who like Tony Robbins. They are taking Tony Robbins away as an interest that you can target. That is huge drop in my targeting audience because of it. They're taking away things that can be sensitive. They're calling them like sensitive things. And an example I would say of that is the word faith, meaning your faith, your religion, your they're taking that interest away. If you're interested in faith, meaning religion and whatnot, they're taking that word away because they have been in trouble for ads targeting people of faith in a way that is offensive to people of faith. And so now we can't target people of faith for the few bad eggs that are abusing the privilege. It's basically bad eggs have been, it's kind of like, it's one bad egg ruins it for all of us in some cases. And that's kind of what this is, because not all of us are targeting people of faith in a way that is offensive to people of faith. So, or if it's not sensitive and that offensive, it's, is it discriminatory, or is it, calling out a particular faith? So they're having to backtrack on a lot of that because, again, they got busted for letting people do things that were not good. And now none of us can do it. So, but it's really key. You also have to make sure you have something really valuable to offer in that ad. Basic lead magnet advertising probably isn't going to cut it anymore. You've got to have a lead magnet that is outstanding. Oh my God, everybody needs it, wants it, it's got to have it kind of a thing in your target audience, because you are competing with tons of people with lead magnets, with webinars, with whatever. So make sure what you're advertising is really super in demand. And then lastly, I hate to say it, but you do need a budget, a good size budget. The days of $5 a day to advertise and get lots of leads are over, unless you're a bigwig who is spending thousands, tens of thousands a month on hundreds of audiences at $5 a day. So you've got to be able to have a budget to invest in testing, because testing is more important now than ever because of the audience situation.
Wow, that's a mouthful too, but it's so important that, like I said, I had to address that elephant in the room, and I say that loosely, just because I wanted to make sure that, like for my own peace of mind, like I said, I've had several people say, well, you need to spend money on ads. I'm like, I'm not sure what would be even considered a good quality ad either. And I have leads offers, but they, like you said, they have to be really appealing to your audience, and they have to really grab your audience, and it has to be something that they need. So I'm almost going to suggest that before you even waste money on ads, I've done polls where I ask them what kind of content appeals to you the most, and then those that reply back, send content that's related to what they want. It's my suggestion, because and here's why: we all learn differently. Some of us learn by visual, by just reading something like a blog post or a newsletter or a blurb. Some people are more auditory and visual, and they need both, so videos are really good for that. And some of us just need sound, so like an audio might be good for that. So we all learn in different modalities. Whether you're learning disabled or not, it doesn't really make a difference which one you are. It's more of everybody learns differently. So you have to kind of so if you're only using just videos, and you're missing out on the other 2/3 of the population. So like you said, try to stagnate your content so it's not all just in one modality. I think that would be the best way of putting it, summing it up. And
yes, that is, your offer, whatever you're offering, you need to be able to appeal to the different kind of learners. You're right. So if you have a lead magnet, the ideal lead magnet is something that's going to appeal. Quizzes are really big right now. I will tell you that quizzes are really big right now. Everybody likes to take a quiz and find out what kind of, dog they would be, what kind of, horse they would be, which Harry Potter character they would be. But it also applies to business too. It's like, if you can come up with a quiz that is related to what you do, what the problem you solve for your clients, and get them engaged in a fun quiz kind of thing, that can work across all of those learning modalities. But if you don't want to do a quiz, or a quiz isn't working, you do, you know, a free video for those who want to watch a video, a free audio for those who want to listen to something, and then a free PDF/report, ebook, whatever, for those that want to read. Because it's highly unlikely your ideal clients are strictly one or the other. Yeah. So you want to appeal to all of them and get them in the door, because once you get them in the door and you can market to them and you can talk to them and get to know them and then sell to them, because that's the other thing, is you're going to have to nurture these people. You can't just go, here's my lead magnet, here's my $5,000 program, come join me. Hello, I don't know you were from Adam. Why would I just drop $5,000 after getting an ebook about something you do? Yes, tripwires are still important. Upsells are important. Funnels basically are important. And so you've got to be able to nurture and let them get to know you, and then sell to them, and sell, you know, whenever possible, sell small to big, you know. But I mean, if your ideal audience is, you know, like millionaires, well, you can pitch higher ticket things. But, you know, but again, they're still going to be kind of like, okay, I may make $1 million, but that doesn't mean I'm going to give you 150,000. Right. Because I got your free little lead magnet.
Well, it's just like the old concept. You've got to get them to, like I was saying earlier in the show, you want that when they're getting someone to buy them, you want to be able to get them to say yes to an offer, whether it starts off with a free one and then a low grade one and then higher end offer, whatever that looks like. You need to make sure that you're getting them to say yes. And that's just one more. And each time they opt in to something that you're sharing, that's a good indication that they're interested in what you have. And you should definitely follow up with them. I mean, am I off the mark, or I'm on target there?
Yeah, no, you're on target there. It is about, yeah, I mean, you've got to know what they need. And because if you know what they need and you get them in the door and you talk to them a little bit to really flesh out your experience, because, you know, they call it a funnel for a reason, because they're coming in at the top of the funnel aware of you, but they've just become aware of you by your social media, your lead magnet. And then as that funnel closes in and you're sending them emails and putting other posts out there, getting really specific about what you do and what you offer, they are starting to become, they come to know you, and then they become ready to buy, because it's a matter of if they don't even know you exist, you know, you got to get that awareness first. And then it all just kind of boils down into, oh my gosh, I know this person, what they offer solves my problem, I'm ready to buy. And it's definitely got to be based on you can get them in the door for free. You can get them in the door for pretty cheap, too. Watch the trends, because if you're on Facebook, you see ads in your feed all the time. Even if they're not really truly relevant to you, you can still grasp what's working, because, you know, if it's showing up in your feed, it's probably working, even if it's not working on you.
True. I mean, because, you know, you know what's best for you when you have your budget in mind, and you know what you can and can't spend on. And so does your audience. So you have to keep that in mind and stuff like that. So
exactly,
hopefully the people you have in mind have a budget, right? That we all wish that. So that's sort of the name of the game in some ways, but not the only thing, because you also want to, when you're building awareness, you're also building that trust, know, like, and trust factor. And like you said, and getting them aware of getting to know you. And it takes time. It takes more than just a couple of emails. You'd like to want to have a really good, you don't want to have a super long funnel, but you want to have one that makes sense and can resonate with your audience, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's the key.
Yep.
So that's brilliantly put. So the next one is, let's talk videos, since I do a lot with videos, with webinars and podcasts and summits and, oh my gosh, and workshops. I'm actually getting ready to host a organizing workshop for one of my clients, and who's doing a Bible study organizing hands-on kind of workshop starting in the end of March. So we're excited to launch that in actually about a couple of weeks. Kind of hard to believe. It's already March. Anyway, it's like we're March 2nd and it feels like almost a quarter of the year has already gone by in 2022. But anyway, but long story short, people are, like you said, are really big into video content. So I'm curious because I've been at the point where I'm trying to create my own marketing campaigns. And so I'm trying to find out, and I'm sure my audience is the same way, what is the best strategy for your video content? Because there's a good way of doing it, and then there's a one that I would sit there and put a red flag on and say, icky. You know, we have the icky way of doing it, and we have the good way of doing it. So let's talk about the good way, the good strategies, and how to do video content.
The best video content is going live, if at all possible, and going live with minimal scripting. It's okay if you have a few bullet points in front of you so you remember what you want to talk about and you don't just sit there and go, but natural, off the cuff, regular old going live and talking about whatever you want to talk about, and keeping the lives need to be, fairly short, 2 to 3 minutes, 5 tops. And then you also, and because there's great tools out there that will stream you in multiple places at the same time, which I just discovered this year myself. I've added LinkedIn lives to my strategy, but because LinkedIn requires certain tool, live video streaming tools to do it, I picked one that also will put me on my Facebook personal page, my Facebook business page, and YouTube. So when I go live every Tuesday morning on LinkedIn, it's going to all 4 platforms. That is one thing that you really want to key in on too, is except when you're like out and about, because the out and about off the cuff ones on your phone are awesome too. You want to mix it up. But when you're doing educational lives like I'm doing, I do my weekly tip, but but mixing it up, again, it's not just one kind of video. Do your lives, do, those kind of tips, tricks, and whatever, like I'm doing, but also, it's, you can do sometimes you can do those lives on the go if you want. You don't have to use the tool on your computer like I do. I just like to, because I want to be able to do it all at once and sit here in my nice comfy chair in my Harry Potter office and do my thing.
I love your Harry Potter office. Oh, you're going to get it. I'll tell you something afterwards. Anyway.
But there's that. The highly scripted, produced, dressed up professional videos, it's not that they're irrelevant now, but they have a very specific place, which is usually more on your website than on social media, because social media it's social for a reason. Even LinkedIn is getting a bit more social, not a lot, but they want personality. They want to see you in your moment, even if you're messing it up. They want to see you, the real you. And another kind of video content that is really important, if you can get it, is user-generated content, i.e. video testimonials. Video testimonials are really great for your marketing strategy because it is that social proof that everybody's talking about, that you know what you're doing. You're helping people get the results you say you're getting. And there's people on video. It's not just a written testimonial that you could make up. I mean, because you could write 50 testimonials for your website and say that, and make up names and get stock photos and pretend you have 50 testimonials. But an authentic video testimonial from clients and people who've worked with you, et cetera, is a very important key when you can get them. And for those of you that are really just utterly and completely camera shy and just absolutely cannot do yourself in the video, there are tools like wave.video where you can make really great marketing videos with pictures and music and captions that you can use as video content as well.
That's really so cool. And I've been playing around on Canva too, because Canva
Canva does it now too. That's right. Yeah. I forgot. You can actually do it on Canva now. They actually have created you can do those kind of videos in Canva now. I totally forgot that Canva finally added that. Yes.
Remind me to send you my latest introduction. I actually sent an introduction, and I tried doing it with the audio with me speaking, and then I tried to do it with just the video with the sound, like I picked the music to go with it. And as much as I enjoy hearing myself talk, I didn't like how the words weren't matching up. Like it was like a lag between what I said, and unless you time it right, it does act a little awkward. Now you can have a professional go in there and edit it. I'm not one of them. I can hire someone to do that, but I'm just saying if you want to do it yourself, having music is just as good as having someone's voice. And you can always do like a personal video to somebody if they're interested in talking to you. You can just do like a quick audio introduction and do your voice like that way, with like a quick, like one of the things I've done in the past is take PDF slides, and just, I can't not speak today. I must be, and it's only Wednesday when we're recording this, but anyway, we'll get through this episode. But the long story short of it is you can just take PDF slides, like you said, and have pictures and captions and key points, but keep them short, keep them readable. Don't have too much on there because it's going to be distracting. Because when you're doing short little, like in your case, introduction ones, or if you're doing educational ones, you want just the highlights. You want to be able to add in other information, or go to a blog post, or send them to the next thing that will give them more information, like a webinar or a workshop, whatever it is your funnel ends up taking them. So, but I mean, definitely great ideas. So, and I'm really geeking out over what Canva is offering. Did you know that Canva even helps you create website templates?
Yep, they're really up in their game a whole
I know.
lot.
So,
Yes, they are.
yeah, so check out those tried and true. Like check out Wave, find out what resonates with you and what makes it easy to use, and great ideas. I never even thought about Wave, so that's awesome. So really quickly, we're wrapping up our show. I cannot believe we're like yakking away. It's like a little bit longer than I planned, but that's okay. My question for you today is there's like two more questions, and that is, what is the one simple action step that you suggest our audience can do now in order to improve their social media marketing? There's got to be a quick tip.
Yes, I would say a quick tip that they can start now and then can expand on later is pick one platform. Mm-hmm. Pick one platform and vow to post every day, at least once a day for 30 days. It's like a 30-day challenge. Pick a platform, post on it every day for 30 days.
I like it.
See what it's like to be posting every day. Don't forget, you can use tools to do the posting for you. You don't literally have to go in there and bang out your post. Create your content, put it in a scheduling tool. But if you're going to do that, I challenge you to also get on there at least once a day and talk to somebody.
Right.
Engage on their posts. And I don't mean DM them and sell them. I mean, engage on somebody's post. Love this, think this is cool, once a day for 30 days, and see what that does for your time on that platform and what that brings to you, and your how often your posts get out there, the responses you get, the engagement you get. I challenge you to pick one platform and do something every day, post-wise and engagement-wise.
Love it. Yeah. And that's the surefire way of helping people organically reconnect with you. I've actually had people, I've been posting stuff on a daily basis. And like I said, both personal and professional. And I've had someone reach out to me, oh yeah, I try to connect with you. And I'm so far behind the connecting with people. It's pathetic, but I screen them carefully, by the way. But long story short, don't forget to, if they connect with you, to check on them and check their profiles and make sure they're the right fit, and then add them as accordingly. But yeah, I had one person said, oh, I love what you've been posting. And I'm like, I'm glad he reached out and said something, because I don't know what people are saying, and not until they tell me, I don't know what to post. So that's a good point. So last thing is, do you have something that you wanted to share with our audience today? Something that they can do to connect with you, or a little gift? So
Absolutely, yes. If they're interested in learning more about social media marketing, Facebook ads, or online marketing in general, because it a well-rounded marketing strategy includes all things on the online world. They can go to my website, check us out, and see what we have to offer, because we do marketing and then some. And there's a book a call button on just about every single page, and I do have a great little guide at the bottom of every page, the ultimate guide to taking back your time. So go over there, check me out, check out, book a call if you want to learn more. And if, tell me Marie sent you, so that we can all have a little bit of a reward for getting together and connecting through Marie in this podcast.
Yes, and I just want to say thank you, Sophie Zollmann, for being a fantastic guest. I'm looking forward to our affiliate partnership. So, and by the way, when you guys are out there connecting with people, you never know who's going to be there, like a good referral partner. So just keep that in mind. So anyway, Sophie and I just happened to be on this podcast so many times that we really just resonated with each other, and we have similar audiences and interests. So it just made sense to connect and collaborate in this way. So thank you so much for helping our audience to grow their business and themselves on the Marketing Mindset Mastery podcast. And her topic was on social media marketing best practices, because oh my gosh, do they change like people change clothes sometimes.
Yes,
So anyway, yeah, got to keep on top of it. So if you need an expert, go to Sophie Zollmann. She can help you out. And if you get stuck, she can give you some good tips on some strategies and so forth. So I want to encourage you to take advantage of her offer, and go to our go to our Marketing Mindset Mastery podcast on YouTube. And that's where you're going to go and find the links for that, because I will be posting them underneath the video. And oh my gosh, check out her stuff. I encourage you to get on a call with Sophie. She is so much fun. She is like she is here. You will not find any more genuine than Sophie or some of the other podcast guests I have had here before. So yeah, I always make sure the people are real before I bring them onto the show, because we're all real people, right? We all make mistakes. We all are fun. We all learn from them, and we can learn from each other. That's the most important. So don't forget, we do have a shop on the libertyvirtualsolutions.com/shop. And we have a special running during this season. And my shop is open now. We finally can get it connected. We finally got the payments all straightened out. We had to make a few adjustments on that. My web developer was kind enough to fix that for me. So thank you, Mark Hunter, by the way, if you're listening. So he's my web developer, and he's fantastic to work with. So during the 21-22 school year, we're offering for anyone who purchases a $45 backpack. They're really cute too. We will be sending a lucky teacher in the US a $5 gift card to help them towards classroom supplies. And simply because it's our way of thanking them, and for being around during a pandemic, during all sorts of craziness, and still teaching and showing up and teaching our kids. And I've been teaching for, like I said, I taught for 20 years before I went to the VA industry world. And oh my gosh, there would have been days I would have loved to have a gift card of $5 to help put towards supplies. So let's help a whole bunch of teachers get some gift cards out there. Let us know if you have a lucky teacher in mind in the US. We would and go to our website at libertyvirtualsolutions.com and send out information about where we can send that lucky teacher that information. And we do ship only in the US and Canada currently. We will be opening worldwide probably this summer. So keep an eye out for that. So join us again next week for more great tips, ideas, and how to make your marketing and mindset work for you, and learn how to set up your business for success. So, and success is not just money. It's also helping serve people. So we stream on YouTube every Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So make sure you like, share, and hit that subscribe button and notification button. And until next time, I'm your host, Marie Mason, with our guest, Sophie Zollmann, saying goodbye from now for the Marketing Mindset Podcast. And that ends this week's show. And you all have a great week. Bye.
Bye.